So now that we have been talking about trinomials and how to factor trinomials, now we're going to start talking about how to solve them. So you'll see that we have a problem here that says solve for x. X squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0. And at first glance, you're going to look at this and say, but I don't know how to solve for that. Okay, well, that's probably true. In all cases, really, that we've had prior to this, you've only had one variable. It was either an x squared or an x, but now you've got both. Okay, so there are some major steps that you need to know on how to solve a trinomial, and I've listed them out, and you need to copy them down. So, in order to solve a trinomial, this is solving for x. Your first thing that you must do is make sure that the trinomial, or the equation that you've been given, is set equal to 0. Okay, so you'll see that we have x squared plus 5x plus 4 equals 0. Then you're going to factor the equation. Then you're going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x twice. That means that you may get either one or two solutions. So what we're trying to do is find all values of x that will make this equation 0. Okay, so you know that when we're solving for equations, we are solving to make it be both sides are equal, right? We need this x squared plus 5x plus 4 to equal 0. So let's do an example using this equation. So, solving for x. First thing that we need to do is make sure that our problem is set equal to 0. So, set equal to 0, check. Next thing we need to do is factor. So I'm going to factor this equation. I need two numbers that multiply to give me 4 and add to give me 5. So that means they're both going to be positive. So my numbers that multiply to give me 4 are 1 and 4. Those add up to be 5. So I found them on the first shot. So my two numbers are 1 and 4. So my two factors are x plus 1, x plus 4. Now, we still have this set equal to 0. So what I want you to think about is, what are you going to have in order to have these things multiply to give you 0? The only way to get 0 when you're multiplying is to multiply something times 0. That means that for this to be true, one of your factors has to be equal to 0. So this equation is going to have two solutions, because we could either have that x plus 1 equals 0, or we could have that x plus 4 equals 0. So I'm going to solve for x on both of these. I get x equals negative 1, negative 1, and x equals negative 4. These are my two solutions for x. Now I want to show you how this works when I plug it back in. So I'm going to plug in to my non-factored form first. So I plug in negative 1 squared plus 5 times negative 1 plus 4. That gives me 1 plus negative 5 plus 4. That equals 0, which is exactly what we need it to equal. I'll get the same thing if I plug in negative 4. Negative 4, so I'm going to plug in negative 4. So negative 4 squared plus 5 times negative 4 plus 4 gives me 16 minus 20 plus 4. Again, that equals 0. So this is an equation where we have two solutions. Okay, now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to plug it into the factored form as well. I want you to see this, okay? So if I plug in negative 1, I'm going to have negative 1 plus 1, negative 1, negative 1 plus 4 equals 0. So I'm going to have 0, times 3, which is, of course, going to equal 0. Okay, try again, plugging in the other one. Plug in a negative 4. Negative 4 plus 1, negative 4 plus 4. And again, I'm going to be multiplying times 0. So negative 3 times 0 equals 0. So these are the two solutions that make this equation true. X could be either equal to negative 1 or X could be equal to negative 4. So the only new thing that we're doing here when you are solving is that you are having to solve each of your factors by setting them equal to 0. That's the only new thing here, really. So let's do another one, but I'm going to change this one now that I've done that problem. I want you to see something else. What if I had this? Okay, remember what the first step was. You must make sure that your equation is set equal to 0. So in order to set this equal to 0, I need to move everything over to the left side. That means I need to add 12 to both sides. And I now have x squared minus 7x plus 12 equals 0. So that was step 1. 2, I need to factor. So two numbers that multiply to give me 12, add to give me negative 7. That's negative 4, negative 3. So my two factors are x minus 4, x minus 3. And that still equals 0, just like it did in the previous step. So now to solve the equation, to figure out what my values of x are, I set each of my factors equal to 0 because one of these factors has to be equal to 0 in order to get a 0 on the right side so that our equations are equal, or so that we're equal on both sides of the equal sign. So x minus 4 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, so x equals positive 4, x equals positive 3. That is how you solve a trinomial. That is an equation. So do your best on the questions.